Welcome back to the Michael Brooks Show. David, what are you doing here?
Just hanging out.
Get back to your
Snuck in.
Get back to your spot.
Took advantage of
Jesus
some camera
Christ.
malfunctions.
Yeah,
I'm moving my way
I
up.
see what you did. You sabotaged the whole tech system. So you can have a seating
That's
upgrade.
why I was in here last night late.
I have actually very little doubt.
By the way, we have Griscom's logo up. Do we know who made that?
You know, I'll have to look that up, but it's
we
a
need
great
to know
logo.
who made Griscom's
It
logo.
was
'Cause
wonderful.
It looks
I'll
really
tweet it out
good.
later because
Yeah.
they did a wonderful job with it.
Check out Griscom's, and we'll use it again in the future.
We
We'll
will
have
use it
the
again in the
citation.
future. Well, David,
Yeah.
certainly I don't like you sitting so close. I know that Richard Wolf, I'm sure, is probably even more pissed than he usually is. But nonetheless, now you're literally gonna give the head cock to Richard Wolf.
Dude, I'm ready for
He's coming
round
back
two.
in April. He's gonna smack your
ready.
face. He already did. I thought you would have gotten a little humbled
It
the
is
last time.
very, very
It's
disturbing.
not in my blood.
When I
Yeah,
hear the
I
millionaire
wanted to
do
talk.
Wait. Hold on. Yeah, Matt's giving you drops. Just calm down, young man. We'll get to you in a second. We're doing a little bit of shtick first.
It is very, very disturbing when I hear the millionaire or billionaire word. And I told him to stop it, knock it off.
Stop it. David Griscom, hit us with the economic minute. The gem. The Griscom
gem.
Economic minute.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about something that's been going on for the past couple of months with local governments and state governments trying to fight back against another one of these big Silicon Valley companies. This time it's Airbnb. So recently, a federal judge actually blocked a New York City law that sought to prevent landlords and the rich from turning apartments into de facto hotels.
Right.
This law was passed last summer. Airbnb sued them, claiming the rule was unconstitutional, basically saying that, they were infringing on people's privacy rights. Now, this is happening all across the country. Just this week in Hawaii.
It's an innovative use of a privacy argument.
Yeah,
I'll give them
exactly.
that.
Well, of course. I mean, they're they're looking for any kind of cynical argument they can make, and they're doing it in a lot of places because more and more cities are starting to put regulations on it. So in Hawaii, they've recognized that there's probably $41 million in unpaid taxes that have been missed due to the fact that people are avoiding their taxes on Airbnb because it's kind of a sneaky way to get around property rules and hotel rules. And these fights are no small issue, especially because rents have become so unaffordable for many people. The illegal usage of these properties has really serious effects on housing affordability. Not only because it creates a shortage of units, it really exacerbates the contradiction between use value and exchange value for people. So remember, we've talked about this before, but the use value, it's very simple. I mean, you use a house to live in, to, reproduce your life, to fall in love, to watch movies.
I like how I was going to say procreate as a joke, and you actually went there. All right, cool.
Look, these are all important parts of life.
Watch football, have sex.
That's a very important part of life.
Yep.
And then there's the exchange value, which is what your landlord is really interested in.
Right.
How much rent they can extract from the property, how much the property can be sold for, and the potential value they can get for leveraging the apartment. Now, Airbnb really exacerbates that because while an apartment may be zoned for residential use, they can make a lot of money putting it on Airbnb. Just to use made-up numbers, right? In New York City, let's say you have an apartment that would typically rent for $2,000 a month, right? Which is honestly a steal, depending.
I was going to say, where are you living in New York?
And let's also use low numbers too, and say they put it on Airbnb for $100 a night, which is also very low for New York City. They're making $3,000 a month basically on Airbnb rentals, which is a huge difference. And there's a reason that Airbnb really does drive up prices because people can come into it in a speculative way, and then they can rent it out on Airbnb and they can make a lot of money. And it's important to understand that while Airbnb might be cheap for people like us to use over a weekend, it really has negative effects on communities.
Right.
An EPI study that came out, which is sort of the crux of this piece, is very important because it explains a lot of these numbers. So Airbnb might be cheaper for your travel expenses, but travel expenses are not a major part of the American person's budget. Housing costs are a much bigger part of the typical person's budget. So, you talk about what's been going on even just in New York City. In the past 2 years, there has been a $400 annual increase across the board in New York City due to Airbnb markets. Airbnb does not increase the amount of travel into an area. It just moves visitors from hotels to Airbnbs. So it doesn't really have a big value for tourism for the local community.
Right.
And because there's a higher renter cost for most people in the community and a loss of tax revenue, it's no small matter in small towns, especially tourist cities. These are major issues that we're fighting about. Airbnb can significantly increases the wealth of those who own property. And as we know, one thing about this country, that's rich people. 20% of Americans own 90% of non-primary housing wealth. So basically the property values of 90% of American housing, it goes to the top 20%. And Airbnb is a very great way for people to make a lot of money on the housing wealth that they already have. So the profits and the value and the benefit from Airbnb overwhelmingly skew to the top. And they especially skew to white households, which hold 86% of this type of wealth. And there's a correlation between increased Airbnb units in an area or neighborhood and increases in rental prices from year to year. So it's important to recognize that this is something that very much is increasing the cost of living for many people. It's overwhelmingly benefiting the rich, and we should be very vigilant and make sure that Airbnb is not able to get away with these kind of bogus legal arguments that they're trying to make to subvert local communities that are basically just trying to make sure that everybody has the ability to live. Because one thing about housing is you need it no matter what. You don't have the option of not renting or not living somewhere. So people are forced to pay these higher and higher rates. And you know that in this city, how hard it is for people to get by.
It's obscene. That little riff you did with the numbers, that was very Bernie-like.
You like that?
You like the top 20% of the 5% of the white percent. Maybe actually would be better if you made it a little bit more like that. The white of the 5.
I need to work on my Bernie.
Yeah. And then the top 1% had the top 30%.
The top 1%
was the 5%. You won't hear this from Donald Trump. The fucking prick. All right, David, that was great. Thank you. Please get back to your position. Don't knock over any wires while you do it. That's the next move. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I guess I fucked it up. I'll have to sit in the chair all the time. David Griscom. Griscom Economic Minute. If you don't already, follow Griscom and Matt on Twitter.
Full day, bro, and I'll see you again soon.
I'm trying to plug you guys. You give him like a dick drop. Yeah. You just enjoyed that Michael Brooks Show video, and you can get a lot more by subscribing to us here at the Michael Brooks Show YouTube channel. It's literally right there.